Hello and welcome to everyone. I'm Vladimir Vladek, the Bulgarian Cowboy, and this is the last fight that I didn't announce from the UFC fight card in Abu Dhabi, UFC 251. The early prelims will be opened by the fight between Martin Day and Davey Grant. Martin Day, right on a score of 9-3. The Spartan, very, very powerful fighter out of Honolulu County, Hawaii. His foundation style is Taekwondo, so that's one of the reasons why I actually love watching this guy. But he's also good on the ground. You know, your foundation style doesn't have to mean you'll stick to it in MMA, especially because, it's MMA. And in MMA, there are no rules, as well as you know. There are no such rules, there are no such things. In MMA, you simply have to adjust to the situation, and that's what every normal fighter would tell you in any situation. If you're a great striker and someone takes you down, you got to adjust. Otherwise, you're going to lose that fight, and that's not going to happen. So, if you ask me, I love fighters who adjust very well, and you can say that Martin Day knows to adjust. He knows to adjust against every single opponent. Last he fought at UFC against Ping Yuan Liu, where he lost via very, very close split decision in November 2018. And I haven't watched him since then. I know that some of his fights were cancelled, postponed, whatever. I can say that I love watching this guy because of his great kicks, great punches. Actually, on the ground, he's fair, He has that nasty guillotine. He knows to tap people out. To be honest, he knows to adjust to the situation. That's what I like about Martin Day, and he is how you say very much very long fighter for this division. He is he's 5 foot 5'10", I believe, which is very very tall for this weight class, and he is a real nightmare in the stand-up for many of his opponents. On the other side, we got Davey Grant, English mixed martial artist, the former SNA bantamweight champion, known for fabulous submissions. If you want a submission guy, well, that's definitely Davey Grant. But Davey Grant, also boxer, BJJ fighter, he's actually purple belt in BJJ, right in a score of 11-4, but he finished the majority of his opponents via choke, and he lost some of his fights via choke, which makes it even more controversial. For example, he lost in TUF 18 bantamweight tournament. He lost in the finals to Chris Holtzworth via rear naked choke. He was armbarred by Damian Stasiak, the Polish fighter, and he lost to Manny Bermudez via triangle choke. He outworked Marlon Vera and Grigory Popov. So when it comes to stamina, he's awesome. When it comes to mauling, he's awesome. But looking back at his records, he has submission losses and submission wins, and it's kind of very, very weird, He is good on the ground. He has lightning fast punches, In some aspects of fighting, this guy Davey Grant, he kind of reminds me on Brad Pickett, but taller Brad Pickett, His nickname is Dangerous, but taller Brad Pickett in some aspects of fighting. He has that guillotines, he has arm bars, he has how you say it, he has that triangle chokes, rear naked chokes. He's kind of very fighter with powerful punches, with solid BJJ and so on, with very much great BJJ. I mean, he's a purple belt, but he is so good, so good on the ground. If he takes Martin Day to the ground, it's gonna be a very hard battle for Martin Day. He can adjust. That's true. This guy can adjust. And I always prefer strikers over grapplers, and I'd like Martin Day to win, but I expect this one is going to go to judges' scorecards or decision. I hope Martin Day has improved his submission defense. It was really much good. I mean, nobody has ever finished him. Via submission. He only lost 2 punches due to Noel Hernandez finished him via punches, but it was 3 years ago. Noel Hernandez, who now competes in the UFC, and that's the guy who actually gave that rose to Brittany Palmer. And Davey Grant on the other side, he might not have the greatest chances in the stand-up, but on the ground he is better. But I hope Martin Day has improved his takedown defense, has improved his ground game, and so on. I hope he'll keep this fight standing and defeat Davey Grant, but it's going to be a great fight to watch.